On my father's 78th birthday, I got a call saying, "I am not bringing your father home. Who is this?" I gripped the phone so hard the case creaked. The voice was heavily accented and completely calm. The calm of a man stating a decision he'd already made. I said his name back to him like an idiot. I said, "What do you mean you're not bringing him home?" And the man said, "No, not home." Then the line went dead. I stood up so fast, my chair went over backward. My manager was mid-sentence about a client account. I didn't apologize. I was already through the door and running for the stairwell, calling my sister with my hands shaking so badly, I hit the wrong contact twice. Nadia picked up on the fourth ring, distracted, typing. "Where's Dad? Where is he right now?" I was almost shouting. "He's in a car coming back from the senior center. I couldn't get him myself, I'm slammed, so I booked him a ride and gave them your number." Her voice dropped. "Why? What's happened?" "The driver just called and told me he isn't bringing Dad home. Call the police, now." My father was 78. Early memory loss, the kind where he could tell you the name of every man in his old unit, but couldn't tell you what street he lived on. He'd wandered once before, in the winter, and we found him 9 blocks away trying to open a stranger's door with his house key. He still carried himself like a proud man. That was the worst part. He'd never admit he was lost. I called his phone over and over while I ran red lights, straight to voicemail every time. His voice, formal and gravelly, telling me to please leave my message after the tone. Each time I heard it, something in my chest tore a little wider. Nadia called back sobbing. She'd given the police the trip details, the car, a partial plate. They'd sent units, but it's a big city, and a gray sedan is every third car on the road. I drove in circles around the route he should have taken, scanning every bus shelter, every bench, every old man in a coat. 20 minutes felt like a lifetime. I kept thinking about how easy he was to talk into things, how he'd hand his wallet to anyone who asked politely. Then my sister called again, and her voice had changed. "They found him. He's safe. I'm sending you the address. Go now." It wasn't a police station. It was a small restaurant on a street I'd driven past 1,000 times without noticing. 2 squad cars parked out front. I ran in. My father was sitting at a table by the window with his coat folded neatly beside him, eating soup. In front of him was a small plate with a pastry on it, and a single lit candle stuck in the middle. An older woman in an apron was fussing over him, and he was telling her something with his hands, the way he does when he's enjoying himself. Near the counter, a slight man in his 60s stood between 2 officers, sweating, gesturing, switching in and out of English as he tried desperately to explain. He looked more frightened than anyone in the room. I grabbed my father and held onto him until he grumbled that I was crushing his shoulder. "Why are you carrying on?" he said. "Mr. Demir bought me lunch." An officer took me aside and explained. My father had given the driver 3 different addresses on the ride, all of them wrong. He'd patted his pockets for keys that weren't there. He couldn't say what floor he lived on. The driver, Mr. Demir, who owned this place with his wife, refused to drop a confused elderly man alone on a curb at an address he wasn't sure of. So he brought him here, sat him at the good table, fed him, and called me to say he would not be leaving my father at home, not alone, not like that, and that I should come and collect him myself. That was the sentence. That was the whole thing. "I am not bringing your father home." His English gave out before he could finish it, and then his phone died mid-call. He'd also heard my father mention it was his birthday. That was the candle. Mr. Demir kept apologizing to me through a translation app, showing me photos of his own father, who had died in another country while he was here working. His wife cried. I couldn't be angry at anyone. I'd spent 30 minutes convinced a monster had taken my dad, and the truth was a stranger had done more for him in one afternoon than I'd managed in months. We eat there most Sundays now. My father always asks for the table by the window. He doesn't remember why.